we had a discussion about Samudragupta. We are on the second page of this chapter. We have discussed about Samudragupta. Samudragupta was son of Chandragupta I. So now today we are going to discuss about Samudragupta Prashasti. Yesterday I told you, na, in Allahabad, one pillar is there. Their inscription is written. Prayag Prashasti we call it. So we are going to discuss that today. So Samudragupta Prashasti. So in a pillar of Allahabad, one long poem is there that is in Sanskrit language. Okay. Who composed this long poem? This long poem was composed by court poet Hari Sena. Samudragupta court poet Hari Sena, okay, he composed this long poem in Sanskrit. This is being inscribed on the pillar of Allahabad. Okay, 1700 years ago, it was composed. This is popularly known as, this kind of long poem is known as Prashasti. What is Prashasti? Underline. Prashasti means in praise of someone. In praise of someone when you are writing something. That is Prayag Prashasti. Correct. Prayag is the name of Allahabad and Prashasti means in praise of. So Samudragupta Prashasti tell us about his rule, where he ruled, conquest, which territories he taken control of, his bravery, his knowledge, his learning in glowing terms. Okay. This Prashasti tell us about his rule, his conquest, his bravery, his knowledge, and his learning in glowing terms. He was also compared to gods. Prayag Prashasti was composed by poet Hari Sena. This court poet Hari Sena composed it. And he was compared to gods in this Prashasti. The poem is written in very long sentence. One stanza of that poem is written here. Okay, read. Samudragupta, the warrior, whose body was most charming, being covered with beauty of marks of 100 scars caused by battle, axes, arrows, spikes, and spears. This is one sentence that is taken from that long poem, from that Prashasti. Okay, it is telling that Samudragupta body, he is having body of warrior. It is covered with scars. 100 scars means whatever battle he has fought, from that battle he got scars on his body. So he was a warrior whose body is charming. Why his body is called charming over here? Because his body is being covered with 100 of scars caused by the battle. In the battle he got those 100 of scars from the axes, from the arrows, from the spikes, and from the spears. These are the weapons which were used in earlier times. Spikes, spears, axes, arrows. From these all he got those 100 of scars. Your court poet, if I talk about your court poet Hari Sena, court poet Hari Sena, he described 4 kinds of rulers. He describes 4 kinds of rulers. Okay. So first was rulers of Aryavarta. Rulers of Aryavarta. There were 9 rulers. How many rulers? There were 9 rulers who were uprooted at that time. So rulers of Aryavarta, 9 rulers were uprooted. Their kingdoms were made the part of Samudragupta Empire. Means 9 rulers' kingdom. Okay. He took control of. Who? Your Samudragupta. So 9 rulers who were uprooted, their kingdom became a part of Samudragupta Empire. Next is the rulers of Dakshinapatha. These are the rulers of Dakshinapatha. Means I am talking about South. There were 12 rulers at that time. Yes, South India. Dakshinapatha means South India. There were 12 rulers at that time. These 12 rulers, beta, they surrendered themselves to Samudragupta. Okay, they didn't want any fight. So they surrendered themselves to Samudragupta. They were defeated. After the defeat, they surrender themselves to Samudragupta. He then started ruling these 12 rulers also of these 12 ruler kingdom also. He started ruling Samudragupta. If I talk about neighboring states including your Assam, your coastal part of Bengal, your Nepal, this inner circle of this neighboring states, a number of Gana Sangh was formed in the northwestern part. Okay, Gana Sangha means assembly. A number of Gana Sangh was being imposed in northwestern part. They brought tribute. Okay, these kingdoms also, these inner circle, these neighboring states also give tribute to Samudragupta, and they also follow his orders. They also follow whatever orders your Samudragupta was giving. And he also attended his court. These rulers of the neighboring states, they also attended his clothes. Okay, that is Gana Sangha. So the inner circle of the neighboring states, Assam, Bengal, and your Nepal, a number of Gana Sangha was formed in the northwest. Okay, Gana means the people, Sangha means the assembly. The assembly of the people was done in the northwestern part. They brought the tribute. They started following Samudragupta orders, and these people also attended his in court. Now, rulers of outlying areas. If I talk about the rulers of outlying areas, these were the descendants of Kushanas and Shakas. Descendants means the person who belongs to the same family. Okay, descendant means the person who belongs to the same family. Okay. My voice is audible to all? Okay, now it's audible. Fine, beta. Okay, fine. So again, once again, I'm telling you about the ruler of outlying areas. So if I talk about the rulers of outlying areas, they also given their kingdom to Samudragupta. They were the descendants of your Kushanas and Shakas empire. They were the descendants of your Kushanas and your Shakas empire. Descendant means the person who belongs to the same family. So rulers of outlying areas also given their kingdom to Samudragupta. If I talk about the ruler of Sri Lanka, okay, the ruler of Sri Lanka, he offered his daughter in marriage and also given his kingdom to Samudragupta. He also given his kingdom and offered that you can marry my daughter also. Fine. Now next topic. Next topic is about Chandragupta II. From AD 380 to 412. Chandragupta II from AD 380 to AD 412. So Chandragupta II was ascended the throne, was given the throne of Patliputra in AD 380. Underline when he was given. Chandragupta II was given the throne of Patliputra from AD 380 to 412. He was given the title Vikramaditya. Underline. He was given the title when he was given the throne of Patliputra, At that time, he was given the title of Vikramaditya. He was a conqueror like his father, Samudragupta. This Chandragupta too was no Tashi. Yesterday also I told you Chandragupta doesn't mean he belongs to Mauryan Empire. Chandragupta Maurya belongs to Mauryan Empire. Here, beta, we are talking about Chandragupta I, that is of Gupta Empire. This Chandragupta II was son of Samudragupta. Okay, this your Chandragupta II was the son of Samudragupta. So he was given the title Vikramaditya. He was a conqueror like his father Samudragupta only. Okay, he defeated the Shakas and took control of the ports of Broch, Cambay and Sopara. Okay, he defeated the Shakas and took control of the ports of Broch, Cambay and Sopara. Underline. So he defeated the Shakas and took controls over these three places. He wanted to strengthen his position by marriage alliances. I told you na, by doing marriages, earlier the king used to strengthen their positions. So he married his daughter to Vakata king of the Deccan. Okay, so to strengthen his position, he married his daughter to Vakata king of the Deccan. Chandragupta II was also succeeded by his son. See, Samudragupta's son was Chandragupta II. And then Chandragupta II's son is Kumara Gupta. Kumara Gupta. And Kumara Gupta was succeeded by his son Skand Gupta. So if I like to make a chain, so here the chain will be made. Samudragupta son, if I talk about, it was Chandragupta II. You can make it in your book. Samudragupta's son was Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II's son was Kumara Gupta. Kumara Gupta's son was Skand Gupta. Okay, Kumara Gupta's son was Skand Gupta. Leena ma'am, my voice is audible. Beta, check your network connection. My voice is audible. So you can write like this. Chandragupta I son was Samudragupta. Samudragupta's son was Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II son was Kumara Gupta. And Kumara Gupta's son was Skand Gupta. Okay. Done. So Skand Gupta defeated the Huns, okay, but did not live after that. When Skand Gupta became the king, during his empire, he was threatened by the Huns. Okay, the Huns were threatening him, Skand Gupta. So Skand Gupta defeated the Huns, but did not live after that. The last ruler, underline, the last ruler of the Gupta dynasty was Narasimha Gupta, underline. The last ruler was Narasimha Gupta. The last ruler was Narasimha Gupta, underline. If I talk about, it is not given Alek here. It was that many rulers came, but the last ruler was Narasimha Gupta. After that also many rulers came, but the last Ruler was Narasimha Gupta. So ma'am, now ma'am is going to talk about the topic administration. Very important. Listen it very carefully. Very carefully, I'm telling. There are some words over here. So administrative posts were hereditary. Okay. Administrative posts were hereditary. Hereditary means when a father dies, then that post, it shifted over to whom? To his son. Okay. When a father dies, then that post is given to his son. So earlier administrative posts were hereditary. Where hereditary means given to his son, then his son. Like a king dies, then it is given to his son. The throne is given to his son. Similarly, the administrative posts were also what? Hereditary. So poet Hari Sena at that time was known as Mahadandanayak. Underline. Poet Hari Sena at that time was known as Mahadandanayak, means Chief Judicial Officer. Underline. Chief Judicial Officer. Okay. Same person used to had many offices, means one same person used to handle so many offices. If I talk about court poet Hari Sena, he was Mahadandanayak, means the Chief Judicial Officer. He was Kumaramatya. Kumaramatya, you can write the meaning, an important minister. Sandhi Vigrahika. Sandhi Vigrahika means Minister of War and Peace. Sandhi Vigrahika means Minister of War and Peace. Means one same person is handling so many offices. So many offices. Next point. Important local magnates had a say in the local administration. These were the important ministers who can participate in local administration. One was Nagara Shreshti. Nagara Shreshti is chief merchant of the city. Chief merchant means the trader of the city. Nagara Shreshti means the chief merchant of the city. Sarthavaha. Beta Kumaramatya means important minister. Sarthavaha means leader of the merchant caravans. Okay, the caravans on which the goods used to come of the traders. So Sarthavaha was leader of the merchant caravans. Prathama Kullika, underline. Prathama Kullika means the chief craftsman. Main craftsman of that time is known as Prathama Kullika. It is in question answer also. Who is Prathama Kullika? He is the chief craftsman and the head of Kayasthas and scribes. Underline the word scribes. Because scribes means a person who write the copies of the documents. Scribes means a person who writes the copies of the documents. That is known as your scribes. Now, if I talk about army. Okay. If I talk about army, then these kings maintained a well-organized army. These kings maintained a well-organized army with elephants, chariots, cavalry, foot soldiers. So one person used to be there at that time. Name was Samantas. What was the name of the person? Samantas at that time. He used to collect revenue from land. This Samanta beta, he used to collect revenue from land. Whatever revenue they have collected, they use that revenue to maintain their soldiers, to maintain their army, provide equipments for any kind of war. So by Samantas used to collect revenue from land, and through this revenue from land, they used to maintain the soldiers, horses. They used to be provide equipment for any kind of war if happening at that time. Understood? Now, if I talk about the ordinary people in the kingdom, after this, I'll take your doubts. Okay? Daman, you can join again, dear. Ordinary people in the kingdom. If I talk about ordinary people in the kingdom, we can catch glimpses of the ordinary people of the kingdom from various kinds of plays. So Kalidasa was a person. He wrote many plays depicting the life of king's court. He wrote many plays depicting the life of the king's court. Your kings and Brahmins at that time, they used to speak Sanskrit language, and your men and women, they used to speak Prakrit language. Okay? Kings and Brahmins used to speak Sanskrit language, and men and women used to speak Prakrit language. So your Kalidasa, he wrote a famous play underlined Abhijana Shakuntalam. Abhijanana Shakuntalam. It was the play name. It tells us about the story of King Dushyanta and Shakuntala. So Kalidasa wrote a famous play, Abhijana Shakuntalam, that tells us about the story of King Dushyanta and Shakuntala. Done. So till here only we have to do today. Now you may ask your doubts one by one. You can start writing in the chat. Any meaning you want to ask? Beta, Kalidasa wrote a play, Abhijanana Shakuntalam. Abhij Nana Shakuntalam. Okay.